You ever notice how the internet talks about money like the only two options are either buy stocks now or stay broke forever? Like you'll be scrolling for 2 minutes and somebody's yelling, "Bro, if you're not investing by 19, you've already lost." Meanwhile, your rent is due, your car is making a suspicious sound, and your account balance is out here fighting for its life. So let's clear this up properly. Your first investment should not always be stocks. And that is not anti-investing. In fact, it's the opposite. It's how you set yourself up to invest well instead of investing emotionally, inconsistently, and with one emergency away from cashing everything out. If you like practical money content that actually helps in real life, hit subscribe now because this channel is for people who want to build wealth without pretending life is a spreadsheet. Here's the mistake a lot of people make. They hear invest early, which is good advice, but they apply it too early in the wrong way. So now someone with no emergency savings, high interest debt, and unstable monthly cash flow is trying to buy index funds like that alone will fix everything. It won't. Because before your money needs to grow, your financial life needs to be stable enough to let it stay invested. That's the part people skip. If every small crisis forces you to pull money out of the market, then technically, yes, you invested, but practically, you never gave your investments time to do their job. And this is not just theory. Financial guidance from places like FINRA and the FDIC consistently recommends building an emergency fund first, often around 3 to 6 months of living expenses, depending on how stable your income is. The reason is simple. Investing works best when the money can stay untouched, and emergency savings exist so your investments don't become your emergency ATM. That's the real first investment, financial breathing room. Because let's say you invest $300 a month into the market, which is great, but then your laptop dies, your car needs repairs, or you get hit with a medical bill and you have no cash buffer. Now what happens? You either sell investments at a bad time, rack up expensive debt, or both. None of those are wealth-building moves. And this is more common than people think. The Federal Reserve's 2025 reporting on household finances said that only about 63% of adults said they could cover a $400 emergency expense using cash or its equivalent. That means a lot of people are way more financially fragile than they look online. So when I say your first investment shouldn't always be stocks, I'm saying this. For many people, the first move is reducing fragility. Sometimes the best return on your money is not in the market first. Sometimes it's in killing a 24% credit card balance. Sometimes it's in building 1 month of expenses in cash. Sometimes it's in getting current on bills so your future income is not already booked by your past decisions. Because here's the thing, nobody says loudly enough. A guaranteed 24% saved by paying off toxic debt is hard for the stock market to beat consistently. That's not exciting, but wealth growth is usually less glamorous than social media makes it look. Real wealth has a lot of boring but correct in it. And before we go further, drop a comment with this: stability before stocks. Not because stocks are bad, they're not, but because people need to stop confusing motion with progress. Buying an investment while your finances are shaky can feel productive, but it can still be premature. Now, once your foundation is in place, then yes, investing matters a lot, because saving money alone usually won't outpace inflation over the long run, and investing is one of the clearest ways ordinary people can build wealth over time. The SEC's investor.org explains this well through basics like compound growth and dollar-cost averaging, which is simply investing equal amounts at regular intervals regardless of whether the market is up or down. That approach matters because it removes the fantasy that successful investing is about being a genius with perfect timing. It usually isn't. It's more often about consistency, patience, diversification, and not panicking every time the market acts like it drank 3 energy drinks. So the sequence matters. Not never invest, but invest in the right order. A smart order often looks like this. First, cover your essentials and stop financial bleeding. Second, build an emergency buffer. Third, clear high-interest debt. Fourth, start long-term investing consistently. That sequence is not flashy, but it gives your investment something extremely important, a chance to survive your real life. Because real life is messy, it does not care that you finally opened a brokerage account.
Real life will still send surprise bills, job changes, family responsibilities, and those weird months where money disappears like it joined a witness protection program. That's why the first investment is sometimes not a stock. Sometimes it's the system around the stock. And honestly, this is where a lot of beginner investors get discouraged for no reason. They think, I'm behind because I'm not buying enough yet. But if you're building a solid cash reserve, paying off high-interest debt, and getting your monthly finances under control, you are not behind. You are literally doing the prep work that makes long-term investing sustainable. That counts. Actually, it counts more than forcing yourself to invest while one broken phone screen could send you into chaos. And there's also a mindset shift here. Wealth growth is not just about chasing the highest return. It's about increasing resilience, then buying productive assets consistently. The people who build wealth well usually aren't the ones making random dramatic moves. They're the ones who make fewer bad forced decisions. That's a huge difference. Because when you've got cash reserves, lower debt pressure, and a plan, you don't invest from panic. You invest from position. You can let compounding work. You can use strategies like dollar-cost averaging. You can stay in the market during rough periods instead of pulling out at the worst possible moment. And over time, that behavior gap matters almost as much as the investments themselves. So here's the takeaway. If you're a beginner and you've been feeling pressure to jump straight into stocks, relax. The goal is not to look like an investor. The goal is to become financially strong enough that investing actually helps you. Sometimes the first investment is an emergency fund. Sometimes it's paying off high-interest debt. Sometimes it's learning how your cash flow works each month. And then once that base is there, stocks become a powerful next step instead of a fragile first move. That's how you build wealth without building stress right beside it. If this helped, like the video so more people stop treating the stock market like a magic trick. Subscribe for more grounded money content, and send this to that one friend who wants to buy stocks with money they might need on Thursday. Because investing is powerful, but the smartest first move is not always the most obvious one. And no, your portfolio is not supposed to double before your electricity bill is paid.